Hey everybody, this is Bradley Benner with Lead Gadget and the ATM, and I got Brian Prinz on with me tonight, and this is the relaunch of the training webinars. So what's up, Brian?
What's happening, Bradley? How are you? And how are all my gadgeteers out there?
We got, it's been a few weeks since we've actually had any training webinars, and for good reason, while everything was getting squared away and straightened out. But now that the new ATM interface is up and working, I actually built my first site in yesterday. Just one. I've only done one so far, but this weekend I've got plans to build out several more, just to get
You're
more.
a woman.
I'm
Listen,
sorry.
you're a woman, only one.
Yeah. Well, I had limited time, and I was only able to get one done. But I set up an EC2 instance, and it went flawlessly. Very simple to do. That's going to be my preferred method, at least for now, is to just set up EC2 instances as needed instead of going.
Hold on. Let me address that for a minute, Bradley. Right away. You set up an EC2 instance with horsepower. Okay. We had somebody else who set up an EC2 instance who decided he thought he was being smart and it had like 1 gig, 1 core. We're sharing it with the whole world. He didn't even pay for the EC2 instance and it won't hold more than about 4 sites.
Right.
So let me advise people on this. If you don't know what you're doing and you don't know how much horsepower to put at it, don't do it. Go and buy the server. You will get a server that'll hold about 300, give or take, sites on it, and you can, when you have those 300 on there, then you get another that comes fully managed. Costas is managing it all. You cannot beat the price. Period.
So is that the server that is that from the banner that's inside the ATM? Is that it?
Yes, that's why we're giving that there. Okay, listen, we don't care. Don and I we don't care about hosting. You could go to whoever you want, but we're going to suggest who we know is going to actually take care of you. Right. I mean, the bottom line is we've been hurt very, very badly with this hosting shit. I mean, it's cost me thousands upon thousands that you can't imagine. So there we go.
That's advanced CNC Advanced Online Services.
That's correct.
And so is that $125 a month? Is that what that is for that server?
Correct, for your own server on Rails.
And that's roughly 300 sites that you can host on that.
Yeah, it depends how big you make them. It could be even more.
That's pretty cool. Okay.
Yeah,
because I don't know how much my
drives everything, SSD drive and everything.
Yeah, I don't know how much that EC2 instance is going to cost yet. I've only got one site on it for now, but I'm just curious. Like, I'll find out because that's based on usage, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay.
But an EC2 is going to cost you a minimum of $11 a month.
Right.
Okay, because that's what it costs just to have the instance up.
But then you pay for it.
Now you have to, if you need horsepower. You need horsepower to put sites up. These sites don't work on, like nothing. So the fact of the matter is, by the time you're done, I figured it out. It's probably going to be about $85 for 100 sites.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's $85 for 100 sites, okay, then 200 sites would be $170, right?
Right.
So the server's already worth more. It's already smarted out of the server.
Makes sense.
Okay, that's why I just do simple math. I'm not going to try and do some special math. But let's talk for a second about problems that have been going on with people inside of the ATM. Normally, you would have a webinar and you would have training to people, Brad. And when I say train them, you would show them how to build, do better, all the rest, right?
Yes.
Well, just this once, I would like to interrupt that training for your, interrupt your regularly scheduled broadcast here. And I'd like to turn around and talk about problems and how to avoid them, the common errors.
Okay. So that's actually, why we're having this kind of like relaunch webinar anyways of the training, because I don't have any training for you guys today. What I wanted to do was bring Brian on and talk about some of the common errors now that he's seeing, that we're seeing with the site builds, number one. Number two, I wanted to kind of talk about going forward what the training schedule is going to look like for the next few weeks. So this will be a rather short webinar today. It's just going to be about the common errors and kind of how to overcome those, and then talk about what's coming in the coming weeks. So with that, Brian, I'm going to go ahead and put up the PDF. I'm going to grab the link and drop it on the events page, guys. It'll also be within the replay so that you guys can click on it and download the PDF yourself, which is, it's basically like the common errors in a PDF format. And Brian, I'm going to put the screen on that, and we'll just go through it at your pace. You just tell me when to advance and that sort of thing, okay?
Sure, no problem, Brad.
All right, here, let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to grab the screen. And here is the PDF, and quickly let me drop this link in the events page, and you should be able to, you should be seeing me now, right?
I see it, but it's really small, so I'm just going to see it on mine anyway. It doesn't make a difference.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll follow along with you.
Yeah, of course you will. I know you will, Brad. I don't worry about that. Okay, now, guys, a lot of the errors that we are seeing are really silly. When I say, and I'm trying to be nice about it by using the word silly. The truth is, you guys know me. I'm usually a little bit more crass with my words. Guys, Brad spends a lot of time doing a lot of training. Don and I do too. We make a lot of videos, and we really hope that you guys will watch them so this way you don't make stupid mistakes. Some of the silly mistakes that we're seeing is the short code with the same name as the custom list. Okay, you can't do that because it confuses the system. Tags that do not have a modifier to make them unique. Okay, like you can't put ones in there that just need to be spun. They need to be spun and make it unique. You got to have a modifier at the end, which the modifier is the short code, in case you're missing it. Titles that don't have a modifier in them to make them unique. Listen, that's just plain asinine, because then every single page has the exact same title without a different city, state, for example, and that's what makes it unique. You can't expect Google to rank that site, right? That site is absolutely 100% going to be de-indexed. It will come get indexed. Google will scan it, scroll it, see it's the same, and de-index it. End of story. For duplicate titles. Duplicate content is the same content within the same site on different pages. If it doesn't have a modifier in it, it's identical. You guys realize that the city and state is the modifier, and that's what makes the subtle change. Duplicate content is identical, not very, very close to it. Identical meaning the brown dog jumped over the fence, and that's the title. The next title is the brown dog jumped over the fence. If you don't have a city, state, or any other modifier in there, then that is what duplicate means, period. Next, not using a second list in the pack list in the category field. Dude, you can't just make one, you have to do two. Why? Because if you watch the video that it trains you how to make the pack list, the second field is for what? The second field is for your category. So if you don't turn around and change it to something else or whatever, then the pack list isn't right. No category, the build is going to fail. But the other one that's really been a problem we've noticed lately is the server is not truly connected. Either you made a mistake in the password, you didn't type root, the key was wrong. I don't care. Whatever the problem is, the server is not connected, and you think it is. When you or you thought the server wasn't connected and you hit delete and then you tried to reconnect it. Listen, we had a major problem with the customer on this last night, and you can't do this anymore. Because if you screw this up, okay, all it does is cause Don extra work. It doesn't cost me a darn thing. Because if you're connected and then you disconnect the server, you might as well say you got to bomb every one of those sites because they're all gone. Okay? You know, as soon as you try and reconnect the server, that's the end of it. The server has to be reformatted, and then you're going to lose the server. So, the bottom line is this. Do it once, do it right, connect it, put everything in the fields that it says. Username is root. If it's a server on Rails, put the IP address in there. Make sure, double check it. It's correct. Make sure there's no white spaces. Okay, type it in there directly if you have to. And the same with the password. Once you connect it, it will tell you if it's connected.
Yeah, I was going to say, and it even says in this PDF, but in the training video that I watched last night, it was that Don had created. He added a column that when you go to list servers in the ATM, he added a column to that will show the server ID. If it doesn't show the server ID, it's not connected, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
It's got a server ID, you're good.
That's right.
If there's no server ID, no good. How's that?
That's it. I mean, that keeps it simple, right? It's server ID, green light. No server ID, red light.
Right. What does he have to do? Put red and green lights in there with it
Maybe.
now? I mean, come on, really?
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't want to say that some people need them, but seriously, some people need them. All right. If you try and add a server to the ATM and you do not see a server ID listed when you view the servers from your profile area, that's the login area. And
right.
then
It's the drop down on the far right. It's the drop down on the far right of the top of the screen when you're logged into the ATM.
That's correct. Then it is not connected. You're safe to delete the server and try and add it again. If you see a server ID and then cannot delete the server, if you find there is a server ID and you're having trouble deploying sites, send in a ticket. Hold on. You must send in a ticket. Let Don handle it. Let him see it. Stop, drop, and roll. Real simple. If you delete a server that had a server ID and was connected to the ATM, you will more than likely never be able to add it back without reloading the operating system and starting from scratch. There are rare cases where where we can link it back and back up, but I doubt it. It's not guaranteed. I can just go and tell you like this. Don't expect it to happen. Period. You know, Don wants to give some hope by putting that in here. I think he was able to reconnect one server one time out of 100. So forget it. Might as well say it's not there. Now, this is the biggest thing that's going on. You see the strange encoding, the character encoding. This stuff happens because you guys copy and paste from a Word document or directly off of eZine or Buzzle or any of the other places you're getting your content from. If you look in here, you see those little highlighted black things that say XA3 and all the rest of that stuff. That is character encoding that is in the back of it, and it's called ANSI encoding. That's no good. That will stop your build. It will stop your build in its tracks. When your site launches, you will see no content on it. You will see the sidebars with all kinds of gibberish in them.
All right, and look, there's a couple things you can do, and I know you go in the next paragraph talk about this a little bit, but one thing is if you're copying and pasting, always paste into a notepad, a straight text editor document first, and then copy it again from there because that'll strip it of its formatting. Any character.
Not always now. we found that that's what I'm going to get to right now. Yeah, Brad, maybe you didn't even realize this, but in a regular notepad, it actually sneaks its way through now.
I've never seen it. But even if it does, the other side of that I was going to say is once you've added your content to the ATM in the WYSIWYG editor, click on the HTML tab, the text editor tab, because if there was character encoding, you should see it in the HTML tab,
right.
Correct?
Well, that's the source button. Just hit the source button.
Right.
People, you call it the HTML, but that's the source button for everybody that doesn't know it. But the best thing you can do is just download Notepad++. It's free.
Yeah.
There's no cost.
Yep.
Okay, it's free. So you download that and you use encode UTF-8. Okay? When you do that, and you highlight everything and you go to UTF-8, that's what takes the crap out of the background. Now, you don't see that stuff, and you're like, how did it get there? Listen, it's like Microsoft. Microsoft puts it in there. That's just how it comes. It's just how it is. Okay? Now, the ATM intends to encode UTF-8, but there are a lot of times that it's still an issue.
Okay.
Custom lists that do not have an even number of rows. Really, guys? We have made this absolutely clear in Andres' video on how to make a pack list. No matter what, if you have 100 in your first row, every other row has to have 100, not 99, not 101. Period. They need 100. Now, let me give you an example, because you guys think that, it won't be the same or even. Well, right now I'm doing a 27 LSI keyword build. So I have to make things unique as well. So I took 27 state short codes with it. Well, how do you pick which 27? Just take the first 27. Who cares? Doesn't matter. If I would have taken 25, I would have taken half the states, and then I would have put it on there again and put the other half of the states. So I had them all. But it doesn't make a difference. Who cares? Okay? Stop worrying about anything and everything but the right thing. And the right thing to worry about is making sure that you have the exact same number of rows on each one of your packs. Pack 1 has 100, Pack 2 has 100, Pack 3 would have 100, and Pack 4 would have 100. There is no reason to make a mistake if you're using an Excel spreadsheet.
That's right.
It tells you the row number. You can see it on there. Period. That's it.
Okay.
System list that you leave a blank line at the end. That's like there's 100 on the first one and 99 on the second. No, that doesn't work. What is even worse is people don't realize when you hit the save button, make sure it is on the last one, on the number 100 on the bottom, not 101, and that one is blank. That means that you have an odd number in there because you have told the system that you have 101 in that row. That's how you make the mistake. The next thing that has just been ridiculous, listen, we put a spinner in the back, spinner checker in the back of the ATM. There's no reason for you not to have a separate tab up so you can copy and paste your spinner syntax right in it and just hit go one time. You just want to see that there's no pipe or bracket that's a mistake in there.
Right.
It's like I had that put in so my stupid ass will never make the mistake, because I was screwing that up before it was even in there, before anybody was ever allowed in there, a couple of years back. So that's the reason that's in there, is because of me, because I'm a retard. And I don't mind, going out and saying that. But there is no reason that anybody should make that same mistake because I made it before. The fix is there, period. Okay? 10, creating lists that have commas in them and using them in the tag field. Listen, you cannot do it because it's a CSV in the tags. You guys see how the tags go, right? It's your keyword, your short code, comma. Keyword, short code, comma. Do you notice there's not a space in there? Because it reads the comma to make it as a line break and a space in one fell swoop. Okay? WordPress already does that for the tags. So please don't try and change it. You're only screwing yourself up. Now, the other thing, a lot of you have your own Cloudflare accounts. Well, guess what? You can keep that Cloudflare account for anything else, but you're not going to put it in the back of the new ATM. The new ATM uses the API with Cloudflare, and it sets a brand new account up, and you can't put yours in there. You can only use the brand new account. End of story. Don't try and change it. Don't think you're smarter. Don't say, well, I want to use my other one because I know where it is. I don't care. It doesn't make a difference.
And it's stupid simple now. So, just grab another email address and slap it in to Cloudflare or the ATM and let it create it for you, because it makes it so simple and so easy. And I recommend doing that because, that's the way they set it up anyway. So you can't do anything other than that, but it just makes it easier anyways.
Well, you don't have to use a real email even in
Sure.
the back of the ATM.
Sure.
In the back of the ATM, you don't need to use a real email because it's using the API. It's not like you have to get an email and then, confirm your link, confirm your email address.
Well, if you do like what you trained us to do, Brian, and me, what you trained me to do, which was to set up a specific Gmail account only for the ATM.
That's the best.
Yeah, then just use that for your Cloudflare account too, because then it'll notify you when the domain's been added and that it's activated, so all the notifications are either coming from the ATM or the Cloudflare, and it just makes it simple. Everything's in one location.
I try and teach people this. See, guys, say you have your name, for an example, on Gmail or whatever. It doesn't matter, whatever it is. If you put ATM dot whatever that is, then that's the ATM email. Now, say you need a second one because the first one's for Cloudflare and the second one is for getting all of your links, the emails from all your sites. Just make it ATM2 dot whatever the rest of your normal email is, and ATM3 dot. And if you do that, those are yours. It's the same email. And all you know is logging into the Gmail gives you an ATM box. That's all it is. You can do it with Yahoo too. Same thing. Do it with Hotmail. You can do it with any of them. Ymail, whatever you want to do. It's the same stuff.
Yep.
Next is, listen, this is a big problem. A lot of people think that you can add the domain into your new ATM that was in your old ATM, but leave it in your old Cloudflare account. Listen, you have to remove it. Go into your old Cloudflare account and delete it, period. Now, put it in the new ATM. It's going to give you new name servers, 2 new name servers. Go back to your registrar and change the name servers then. It'll instantly work. Everybody says, Namecheap is behind. They're 24 to 48 hours.
No, they're not.
No, they're not. They're 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Listen,
yes.
It's 3 or 4 minutes. They say 24 to 48 hours just in case they have a problem. It's 3 or 4 minutes and it's done. It's all automated. Nobody has to sit there and click on anything inside. Once it's done, it's done. That's it. Your checkout settings should be set to your new ATM Cloudflare name servers. Because if you do that, you never have to touch them afterwards, period.
Yeah.
It's already done when you buy the domain. When you immediately buy a domain and it's okay, the registrar is slow, cloud the DNS before it allows add, okay. Adding a zone to Cloudflare failed. Make sure your domain you're trying to add is registered doesn't have any errors. The DNS propagation is typically the problem there. Give it a couple minutes, click it again, it'll be there. Done.
Yeah, if you're using a top level domain, it's usually just in a matter of minutes. Like I rarely see it go more than 20 minutes. I have seen with some of the more obscure domain extensions that sometimes it can take longer. It could take several hours before it completely propagates. But again, that's only with the really obscure extensions. With the top level extensions, I've never seen it go more than 20 minutes. So if you have an error, guys, just go grab a drink, go do something, and then come back in 10 or 15 minutes, and your problem will be solved.
Okay. When you edit content that you've already added to the system, you forget to select your pack list again before you edit it. This will be handed in a future update, and the pack list associated with the content will be shown. However, for now, right now I'm talking about, you must select your pack list again before you click update on your content. Why? Because it has to know that the right lists in the pack list are being used. Otherwise, it doesn't associate it. When you hit update, it doesn't associate the short codes that you have in there with any pack list. If it doesn't associate it with any pack list, what's it going to do? It's not going to build your site correctly. That's it. That's all it's going to do is screw it up, bomb it, do it again. Now, if you want to disassociate a piece of content from a site so that it no longer shows in the deploy screen, edit the content first. Scroll down to where you see the site list, look at the highlighted site in the list, hold the control key, click the site. This will deselect it. Then you can now hit update and it will not show in the deploy screen anymore.
Right. Until you associate it with another website.
Right.
Right.
Now, a lot of guys are liking Recycle. A lot of guys are liking all the stuff that we do. And the fact of the matter is, guys, we're happy that there's been so many kind comments, thank yous, everything else. Don and I are constantly helping people. I really want to say thanks to a couple people that are out there. You guys know who you are. There have been some very nice posts lately in the Facebook group thanking Don and I for helping for hours and everything. Mark Kessler and Mike Pierce. And there's a bunch of others. Listen, we'll get to you. We will help you. We will get to you. I will do it. Doesn't matter. There it is. That's the bottom line. I hope that this gives you some enlightenment. Next week, we have a huge webinar at 8 p.m. on the 13th. Brad will have a training webinar. I believe it is in the morning. Is that not correct, Bradley?
For next week, yeah.
Right? So the night one that next week is just, it's going to be a biggie, a real big one. There's not going to be anything new that you don't know about in it if you're already a member. But if you're not a member, oh boy, is there going to be stuff to, going over. And that's what this is for. We are opening the floodgates, so to speak. Some people will hear some things they might not like. They might like more. They might like this. They might like that. Whatever. It doesn't matter. These decisions are Don and I. Nobody is getting a price increase. Let me repeat that again, because I heard somebody put a post up that they removed about that they thought that we were going to raise their price on the ATM. Whatever you've been paying is what you're going to continue paying, and there is no change coming ever unless you give up your ATM and then want to come back another time, okay? And you were in at a founder's price, okay, and you're not getting that again. But Other than that, that's where it's at. Nothing else, Brad.
Cool.
I think we were able to help some people. You think we got over a bunch of the stuff that's always in the tickets?
Yeah, I hope so, and I'm sure we'll still see him again.
Yeah, but that's okay. You know,
Unfortunately.
it's just how a lot of people are. So we'll just shoot them this webinar and
Well, yeah, and luckily with this PDF now, we can kind of just hit that as like a canned response. Hey, check this first. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So
Well, you want to know what I'd like you to do? Maybe if you put it inside of the group, I'll pin it up there for a while, or I'll just put it in there, and so this way there's no if and a but. People can look to see what their mistakes are, and because every mistake that's on that PDF came from me and Don working on stuff, mainly Don, that found them, but I found stuff too. And, just to make sure, we just don't want people to have headaches. End of story. You know what I'm saying?
put it right now in the files section of the Facebook group. I'm working on that right now as we speak so that people can go there. We can point them to that. I'll also post the link, but I'm just going to stick it in there too. So.
Well, that's pretty cool. And I appreciate that, Bradley. I really appreciate that.
Let's see. Let me rename that. All right. So the only other thing that I was going to talk about tonight was what to expect from me with the training schedule for the next several weeks.
Yeah. What can I expect to be trained from you, Bradley? Please tell me. I need some training. I'm horrible. I can't even put two words together anymore.
Well, there's no help for you for that. I can't.
Darn.
I'm not a miracle worker, Brian.
Darn.
All right. So now.
I think you are.
Let me finish typing this. These are common site errors. Okay. So what I plan on doing is, I had a couple local case studies planned before all of the updates started taking effect. Started before Dawn started working on all that. So, I still plan on doing some local case studies. I'm going to probably switch the topic of them slightly, though, to be selfish, to be purely honest with you. I've got a couple projects that I can use the finished sites for very specifically. So I'm just going to be open and honest and share those site builds with you guys as I'm building them out. I'm going to do a regional site build and I'm going to do a statewide site build. Okay. So what I mean by that is regional covering, a couple counties, which is typical for the type of business that I do. And I know that that's what people were requesting, which is like generating leads for contractors, for example. Maybe not a contractor that can handle an entire state, but a contractor that handles a particular region, like a metropolitan area, for example. So I'm going to be doing one of those. It will be monetized to one of my contractors when I'm done. And that's why I said I'm probably going to switch the niche up, because I have some contractors already that were willing to take those leads when I finish the site. So I'm going to do that. That'll save me from having to find a contractor when I'm done. You know what I mean? The other one I'm going to do is a statewide site, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to end up pushing that over to one of my already existing clients or contractor lead buyers. You know what I mean? That said, beyond those, I've got a couple affiliate case studies that I want to put together, because I've got some affiliate promotions that I'm working on, evergreen affiliate stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and probably build out some sites for that too. And I'm going to try some different build procedures. In other words, like, the way that I've always done them up until this point has just been a national build using the state and the city-state zip on some of the builds with the zip codes. But this way, I'm going to try some different builds where I'm using more keywords, where instead of just the location data, and I'm going to try to do some more creative stuff with it. And you guys will see whether it works or not, because I'm going to be transparent with the build itself, how it turns out, and then obviously track it afterwards to see what kind of results we can get. So I like to use the training as kind of like an experimentation as well. I'm going to try to, walk you through the videos. I'm going to record stuff as I'm doing them. Then the training webinars are going to be like an overview of what had been done, and then questions and answers, because that's really what the training webinars are for you guys with any questions that you have. Okay. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. Well, that's it. That's all we got then.
All right. I just want to put this out there as well. A lot of people are finding new stuff to promote and everything else. Listen, call tracking is, everybody knows, for leads, is becoming huge. Commission Junction has a lot of call tracking phone numbers and scripts and everything else. Well, Don and I will in the next in the next month and a half, because as you guys know, I've owned a phone company for over 14 years. We're going to be putting a call tracking script in, so you guys will be able to buy phone numbers for a year. When you buy the website, you can buy the phone number and pay for the entire year up front. And the traffic itself, the minutes, you guys will be able to buy buckets for that, last the whole month, and it'll be cheap as can be. And you'll be able to see how many phone calls come through. So if you have a local contractor and you just want to send them phone calls, because it's easier to do that, because lots of contractors and roofers and gutter guys, that's what they want anyway. They want their phone to ring. They don't want people going to the website. Yep. There are other businesses that love it going to the website. Well, you guys will be able to get these call tracking numbers very, very, very cheap for a year. I mean, it's it's not going to be a big deal. You'll be able to install it, and you'll be able to show your customer very easily, hey, look, you got 33 calls, or, how many calls and how many minutes you got on there and everything else. And it'll be showed right to them, because it'll go right to the one number that they want. It's no big deal. That is coming, because Don and I, we're just going to make a change in the programming that I have now, so I can make it public. Just for everybody to do it as a public thing. It's not going to have 1,000 functions and features and all the rest of the stuff.
Oh, you mean you're not going to make it overcomplicated?
Oh yeah, sure. Why don't I do that? Yeah, make everything all over complicated, because it's nothing but a pain in the butt. Okay, and then it just starts, becoming another headache on its own. All right, we're not allowing that. So that's what's happening, guys. That's what's happening, and we're hoping that you guys have everything fun.
All right, guys. Well, next week, 7:30 a.m. in the morning Eastern time, I should say, because we're going to be alternating the webinars. So it'll be every other, every week it'll be 12 hours apart. So next week's in the morning, the following week be back in the evening, and that's going to be the schedule going forward. If there's anything that comes up where I will be unable to make it, it will be a scheduled a scheduled missed event, if that makes sense, because I'm pretty solid about showing up for scheduled events and everything. So, but anyways, just come with your questions. We're going to start on, I'll be going over the beginning of the first case study site build next week. With however far I've gotten with it, we're going to cover some of that, and then we'll take questions next week. So guys, plan on that, and we'll see you all next week. Thanks for your time tonight, Brian.
Hey, listen, Brad, I really appreciate it. And, guys, when Bradley says scheduled, he's being really nice about it. You guys should thank him. But when he schedules something, it's usually with his daughter. So don't ever think, oh, Brad didn't have it this week. Man, that sucks. He's with his baby girl, and I think that's awesome, because he's an awesome friggin' guy and tries to be the best dad out there. Some of you guys should take a hint from him. All right? All right, Super Dad. Let's wrap it up. Have a great night, guys. Bye.